Divorced men. What happened when she showed up on your date, begging for another chance? Story 1. I was 6 months divorced and on my first real date. Quiet wine bar, warm lights, the kind of place you can finally breathe again. Jenna, my date, was laughing at my terrible attempt at flirting when the door swung open like it was a courtroom. My ex-wife, Marissa, walked in wearing the I'm the victim outfit. Hair done, mascara perfect. She scanned the room, saw me, and beelined like a missile. Ethan, she whispered, sliding into our booth like she belonged there. Please. I just need 5 minutes. Jenna blinked. Hi. Marissa ignored her. I made a mistake. I didn't mean any of it. I'm ready to be the wife you deserved. I stared at her hands. No ring, but she kept touching her finger like it hurt. Marissa, you filed. I was angry, she said quickly. And I thought you'd fight for me. Jenna set her napkin down carefully. So you showed up to a stranger's date to test him? Marissa's eyes finally acknowledged Jenna, and her voice sharpened. I'm his wife. Ex, Jenna corrected, calm as a surgeon. Marissa's lower lip trembled. You don't understand what we had. I did. It was exactly why I was sitting there with someone new. We had a marriage where you begged me to just let you be happy while you trashed me to your friends. Her face fell for half a second. Then the performance resumed. I can change. I already deleted his number. His? Jenna asked. Marissa froze. Too long. Too quiet. I leaned forward. Whose number, Marissa? She snapped, defensive. It doesn't matter. It mattered. Because I remembered the night she accused me of cheating because I was too calm about her late nights. Jenna stood up and grabbed her purse. I'm going to the bar. You two can finish whatever this is. Marissa turned back to me, voice dropping. If you leave with her, I'll regret it forever. I nodded. You already do. Then I pulled out my phone, opened the email chain from our divorce mediation, and slid it across the table to her. The part where she demanded the house because he doesn't deserve it, and the part where she tried to charge me for her emotional labor. I'm not your lesson, I said. I'm your consequence. Marissa's eyes got glossy again. So that's it? You're replacing me? No, I said. I'm returning myself. When I walked to the bar, Jenna looked at me, eyebrows raised. Is she always like that? I exhaled. Only when she's losing. As we left, Marissa stood at the booth, shaking, watching us like she'd just realized the door she slammed wasn't a revolving one. Story 2. My buddy said dating after divorce is like learning to drive again after a wreck. Your hands shake even when the road's clear. So my first date was simple. Coffee, daylight, public. Her name was Tasha, and she had that rare kind of confidence that doesn't need to announce itself. We were mid-conversation when someone tapped my shoulder like we were at a family reunion. Babe? My ex-wife, Lila? Tasha looked up, amused. Oh, we brought +1s now? Lila didn't laugh. She leaned in close to me, breath sweet like she'd planned it. I need to talk to you. Alone. I didn't move. You can talk here. Her eyes flicked to Tasha. It's private. Tasha sipped her coffee. So is a date. Lila's voice cracked. I've been thinking. I miss our family. We didn't have kids. We had a dog she kept because she said I was too irresponsible. Then texted me 3 weeks later asking what brand of food he ate. I folded my hands. Lila, why are you here? She swallowed hard. Because I made a mistake leaving. I didn't think you'd actually be okay. Tasha's eyebrows shot up. There it is. Lila's eyes flashed. Excuse me? Tasha smiled politely. That sentence? That's the whole marriage in one line. Lila turned back to me, desperation rising. I'm ready to come home. I'll do counseling. I'll do whatever. Just don't do this. Do what? I asked. Move on, she whispered, like it was a crime. I stared at her, and a weird calm settled in. You moved on first. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that, I said. You didn't want me. You wanted the version of me that stayed available. Tasha leaned forward, voice gentle but deadly. He's not a library book, Lila. You can't return him because someone else checked him out. Lila's cheeks flushed. I'm his wife. Not anymore, I said, standing. And you're not my emergency contact. Lila grabbed my sleeve. Please. I gently removed her hand. The last time you begged me, it was so I'd stop crying and be a man. Now you're begging because you don't like the consequences. I paid for both coffees and looked at Tasha. Want to take a walk? Tasha stood and offered Lila a bright smile. Good luck finding someone who tolerates this. As we left, Lila's voice followed us, thin and furious. He'll do it to you too. Tasha laughed softly, not even turning around. Ma'am, he already did it to her. It's called divorce. Story 3. The date was at a bowling alley. My choice because it's hard to get too intense when you're wearing ridiculous shoes. My date, Kim, was competitive in a way that made everything fun. She high-fived strangers. She heckled me lovingly. For the first time in years, I wasn't shrinking to fit someone else's mood. Then I saw my ex-wife Nadia, standing near the arcade like she'd spawned there. She wasn't with friends. She wasn't bowling. She was just waiting. When I went to grab nachos, she intercepted me. "Mark," she said, voice trembling, "please don't do this." I blinked. "Do what? Bowl?" She shook her head, eyes wet. "Date her." Kim appeared behind me, wiping her hands on her jeans. "Hi, I'm her." Nadia looked Kim up and down, like she was shopping for something better and couldn't find it. "Can we talk privately?" Kim answered before I could. "No." Nadia's face tightened. "This is between me and my husband." I felt something snap into place, the way it does when you realize you've been living under a weight you didn't have to carry. Ex-husband. Nadia's eyes widened. "You don't have to say it like that." Kim leaned her elbow on the counter. "He kinda does. Reality's annoying." Nadia turned back to me, desperate. "I made a mistake. I was scared. I didn't think you'd actually leave when I told you to." Kim let out a short laugh. "Oh my God." I stared at Nadia. "You told me to leave?" Nadia flinched, then tried to recover. "I didn't mean it." I did. I remembered her screaming it at me during the last fight, pointing at the door like I was trash she couldn't wait to take out. Kim stepped closer, eyes sharp. "So you pushed him out, and now you're mad someone else opened the door for him?" Nadia's voice rose. "I'm not mad. I realize what I lost." I nodded slowly. "Yes, you lost control." That word hit her like a slap. Her tears stopped midstream. Kim picked up my bowling ball and rolled it between her hands. "Look, Nadia, I get it. Seeing him happy is probably uncomfortable. But you don't get to sabotage it because you're finally feeling the pain you outsourced to him." Nadia's jaw trembled. "Please, Mark. Just one more chance." I looked past her to the lanes where couples were laughing, kids were cheering, life was moving. "You had 1,000 chances," I said quietly. "You spent them like they were unlimited." Then I took Kim's hand and walked back to our lane. Behind us, Nadia shouted my name once. Louder, angrier, like volume could rewrite history. But Kim's fingers tightened around mine, and the pins crashed, clean and final. Story 4. I planned the date like a man terrified of jinxing his own happiness. Reservation at a small Italian place. Table in the back. No social media, no mutual friends. My date, Elise, arrived early. She smiled like she meant it. We talked like two adults who'd been through enough to appreciate calm. Halfway through appetizers, the hostess approached, confused. "Sir, there's a woman asking for you. She says it's an emergency." My stomach dropped before I even saw her. My ex-wife, Tori, rushed in dramatically, scanning like the place was on fire. She spotted me, and her face twisted into relief like she'd found a missing child. "Thank God," she said, grabbing my forearm. "I need you." I messed up. Elise didn't flinch. She just placed her fork down. "Hi." Tori's eyes landed on Elise and narrowed. "Who is this?" "Elise," Elise said smoothly. "The person currently having dinner with him." Tori laughed once. Sharp, fake. "Oh, so it's like that." "It's exactly like that," I said. Tori's bravado cracked. "I didn't think you'd—" "Move on," Elise offered sweetly. Tori glared. "Stay out of it." Elise tilted her head. "No." Tori turned back to me, voice dropping into that intimate tone she used when she wanted something. "I've been crying for days. I can't sleep. I miss you." I stared at her. "You didn't miss me during the affair." Silence. Absolute. Surgical. Elise's eyes flicked to me. "There it is." Tori's face drained. Don't," I said, quietly but firm. "Don't lie in front of her. Don't lie in front of me. Not anymore." Tori's eyes welled up again, but now the tears looked different. Panic, not regret. "It was a mistake. He meant nothing." Elise took a sip of water. "Funny how the nothing guy always shows up right before the divorce papers." Tori snapped. "You don't know our marriage." Elise leaned in slightly. "I know enough, because the only people who interrupt dates like this are the ones who thought their ex would be alone forever." Tori's mouth opened, and for a second she looked like she might scream. Instead, she whispered, "Please, I'll do anything." I nodded toward the door. "Then do one thing. Leave." She stared at me, horrified, like I'd spoken a language she didn't know. "You're choosing her?" I shook my head. "I'm choosing peace." Tori's face twisted, anger finally overtaking the tears. "You'll regret this." Elise smiled, calm as a judge. "He already regretted you. That's why he's here." Tori stormed out, slamming the door so hard the whole restaurant looked. Elise turned to me and picked up her fork again. "So," she said, like nothing happened, "tell me about the version of you that survives that." And for the first time, I didn't feel ashamed of my past. I felt proud of my boundary. Story 5. The date was at a bookstore cafe, my kind of place. Quiet, safe, no alcohol. No pressure. Her name was Nia, and she wore glasses she didn't try to make cute. She just existed like she wasn't asking permission. We were sitting by the window when a shadow fell across our table. My ex-wife, Paige, stood there holding my old hoodie, the one she accidentally kept after the divorce. "Hey," she said softly. "You forgot this." I didn't even touch it. "Paige, why are you here?" Her eyes glistened instantly, like she'd practiced in the mirror. "Because I can't do this without you." Nia's gaze moved from the hoodie to Paige's face. "Hi." Paige looked at Nia like she was an inconvenience, not a person. "Can I talk to him alone?" Nia smiled, polite but firm. "No thanks." Paige's jaw clenched. "This is important." Nia nodded toward the hoodie. "So important you brought a prop." Paige snapped her head to me. "I'm serious. I want another chance." I exhaled slowly. "You left." Paige's voice shook. "Because you were distant." Nia's eyes flicked to me for a second, then back to Paige. "He was distant because you were texting your work husband every night at 2 a.m. My heart dropped. I hadn't told Nia that detail. Not yet. Paige went stiff. "How do you—" Nia shrugged. "Lucky guess. The patterns are boring." Paige tried again, softer. "I'm sorry. I didn't realize what I had until it was gone." I leaned back in my chair. "You realized what you had when you saw someone else sitting here." Paige's face crumpled. "Please. I've changed. I'm in therapy. I'm different now." Nia tilted her head. "Are you here because you love him, or because you hate being replaced?" Paige looked at me, eyes pleading for rescue. "I love you." I stared at her for a long moment, then nodded toward the hoodie. "Keep it." Her lips parted. "What?" "Keep the hoodie," I said. "Keep the memories. Keep whatever story you tell yourself. But you don't get me back just because you're lonely today." Paige's eyes went wide, then angry. "So she's just better?" Nia didn't even blink. "No. She's just newer. And he's finally allowed to be treated like a person." Paige's hands tightened around the hoodie. She looked like she wanted to throw it at me, like she wanted to cause a scene. Instead, she whispered, "I thought you'd wait." I nodded once. "I did, for years." Paige turned and walked out, shoulders shaking. Nia reached across the table and tapped the book I was holding. "So," she said gently, "what chapter are you in now?" And for the first time since my divorce, the answer didn't hurt. Story 6. I picked a rooftop tapas place because it felt impossible for my past to find me up there. City lights, soft music, a table tucked behind planters. My date, Amber, was telling me about her job in pediatric nursing when a shrill voice cut through the vibe like a broken alarm. "Jason!" I didn't even have to turn. My ex-wife, Kira, always said my name like she owned it. She stormed toward the table in heels she couldn't walk in, clutching her phone like evidence. People stared. Amber froze, then calmly set her glass down. Kira planted herself between us. "So it's true. You're out here dating like I'm nothing." Amber raised an eyebrow. "Hi." Kira ignored her. "Jason, please. Not like this. We need to talk." "I've been thinking all week." "All week?" I repeated. "You signed the papers 3 months ago." Kira's face twitched. "I didn't think you'd actually replace me." Amber let out a tiny laugh. "That's a wild thing to say out loud." Kira snapped her eyes to Amber. "Stay out of this. He's my husband." "Ex," Amber corrected. "And he's currently on a date. With me." Kira's voice cracked immediately. "Jason, I'm begging you. I've changed. I'm not seeing him anymore." My stomach dropped. "Him?" Kira blinked too late. I mean..." Amber leaned back, eyes sharp. "Oops." Kira rushed on, panicked. "It was nothing. I ended it. I chose you." I stared at her, calm like ice. "You didn't choose me. You lost him." Her eyes went glossy, then angry. "So you're punishing me? After everything I did for you?" Amber's jaw tightened. "There it is." Kira pointed at Amber like she was the problem. "You don't know him like I do." Amber smiled politely. "Actually, I know enough. I know he's not available for your guilt detox." Kira's lip trembled again. "Jason, I can't sleep. I can't eat. I miss our life." I nodded slowly. "You miss being the center of mine." That hit her harder than an insult. She looked around, realizing everyone was watching. Her voice dropped. "Please, just come outside with me. 5 minutes." Amber didn't flinch. She slid her chair slightly closer to mine, casual but protective. "If you stand up, she'll think she still controls the room." Kira heard that. Her face twisted. "You think you're winning?" Amber took a sip of water. "No. I think he's finally done losing." I looked Kira in the eye. "Go home." Her eyes flashed. "If you walk away, you'll regret it." I stood, just enough to signal finality, and waved the waiter over. "Can you call security?" "She's not with us." Kira's mouth fell open. "You wouldn't." "I already did," I said quietly. As security approached, Kira's voice cracked into a hiss. "You're humiliating me." Amber finally spoke. gentle but brutal. You humiliated yourself the day you thought he'd never stop loving you. Kira was escorted out, crying louder the farther she got, like volume could rewrite the divorce. Amber exhaled when the door shut. You okay? I nodded. Yeah, she smiled. Good. Now tell me about that nursing story again. I want to live in the future, not the mess. Story 7. My first date after my divorce was at a pottery studio. Yeah, clay, aprons, cheesy music. I thought it'd be safe because nobody shows up to beg for their ex back while holding a lump of wet mud. I was wrong. My date, Priya, was shaping a bowl with intense focus when the front door chimed and my ex-wife, Danny, walked in like she was stepping into a wedding. She was overdressed, holding flowers, eyes already watery. Eli, she breathed. Oh my God. Priya looked up, hands covered in clay. Please tell me that's my ex, I said, already standing. Danny rushed over, flowers outstretched. I didn't know where else to go. I've been calling. You blocked me. You cheated, I said flatly. Danny flinched, then tried to smile. I made a mistake. I was lost. But I'm here now. I want my marriage back. Priya wiped her hands slowly, then turned to Danny with a calm that felt dangerous. This is a pottery class. Danny's eyes flicked to Priya, contempt flashing. So this is what you're doing? Playing house with strangers? Priya's eyebrows lifted. Ma'am, I'm literally making a bowl. Danny ignored her again, locking onto me. I'm pregnant. The room went silent in that weird way studios do when someone drops a bomb. I stared at her. No. Danny's voice trembled harder. Yes. And I don't know if it's yours, but it could be, and Priya inhaled sharply. Oh my God. I felt my skin go cold. You came here to say that in front of people? Danny's eyes filled up. I panicked. I needed you. Priya stepped closer, clay still on her fingers like she was holding a weapon. You needed him, or you needed a backup plan. Danny snapped. Don't call it that. Priya's voice stayed level. Then why did you say you don't know if it's his? That's not love. That's roulette. Danny turned back to me, sobbing. Please. We can fix this. We can be a family again. I shook my head slowly. We were never a family. We were a performance. Danny reached for my arm and I pulled back like her touch burned. Eli, please. I stepped away. Get out. She froze. What? I'm not your lifeboat, I said. And I'm not your maybe. Danny's face twisted. Then she screamed, You're abandoning me. Priya leaned in, eyes steady. He already left. You just didn't believe him. Danny looked around and realized everyone was watching. Other couples, the instructor, a teenager with his mom. Her voice dropped to a whisper. You're choosing her? I said. I'm choosing sanity. Danny stormed out, flowers falling to the floor like dead weight. Priya exhaled and looked at my clay lump. Want to smash yours and start over? I nodded. Yeah, she smiled. Good. Because that bowl was doomed anyway. Story 8. I took her to a jazz lounge. Not fancy, just dim, cozy, the kind of place where conversation matters more than looks. My date, Lorraine, had this quiet confidence that made me feel less like a divorced guy and more like a man again. During the second song, I saw my ex-wife Megan, standing at the bar watching us like a detective. I pretended I didn't. I kept talking. Megan walked over anyway. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She did something worse. She smiled like nothing happened. Hi, babe, she said, touching my shoulder. Lorraine didn't react. Just looked up. Can I help you? Megan's smile tightened. I'm Megan, his wife. Lorraine nodded. I'm Lorraine. His date. Megan laughed softly like it was cute. Oh, so we're doing this. I removed Megan's hand. Leave. Her smile cracked. Can we not make a scene? You're literally making a scene, Lorraine said. Megan turned to me, voice lowering. I'm sorry. I've been doing a lot of reflecting. I want to try again. I stared at her. You told the judge you were relieved the marriage ended. Megan's eyes flashed. I was hurt. No, I said. You were smug. That hit a nerve. Her composure finally slipped. You think you're happy? You think she's going to tolerate you? Your moods? Your baggage? Lorraine leaned forward, calm as a blade. What a weird way to beg for love. Megan glared. Stay out of it. Lorraine smiled. No. Megan's eyes went wet, voice breaking. I made a mistake leaving. I didn't think you'd find someone who actually likes you. I felt my jaw clench. So that's why you're here, Megan whispered. I miss you. I nodded slowly. You miss being missed. Lorraine rested her hand on the table. An anchor. You don't get to tear him down and call it honesty. Megan's tears fell now, real and ugly. Please. Just come home. One more chance. I shook my head. Home isn't where you beg me in public. Home is where I'm safe. Megan looked around, realized people were watching, and her face hardened. Fine. Enjoy your rebound. Lorraine tilted her head. Rebounds usually involve bad decisions. I'm drinking club soda. Megan flinched, then marched away, heels clicking like gunshots. Lorraine watched her go and then looked at me. You okay? I exhaled. I think I just became okay. The band started a new song, and it felt like the first time in years I wasn't listening for the sound of someone walking out. Story 9. The date was at a farmer's market. Daytime. Public. Normal. My therapist said normal was good for me. I was holding a bag of peaches when my ex-wife, Sienna, appeared like a horror movie jump scare. Sunglasses, messy bun, tears already loaded. Ryan, she cried, grabbing my arm. Please don't do this. My date, Mallory, stepped in instantly. Hey, hands off. Sienna glanced at Mallory like she was gum on a shoe. Who are you? Mallory smiled. The person he's spending his Saturday with. Who are you? Sienna's lip trembled. His wife, I said. Ex? Sienna swallowed hard. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I shouldn't have left. I shouldn't have said those things. Mallory's voice stayed calm. Which things? Sienna blinked. I did it for her. Like how I'd never do better, and how no one would want a man with my issues. Sienna's eyes went wide, like she didn't expect me to say it out loud in daylight. Mallory nodded slowly. So you broke him down, and now you're shocked someone else built him back up. Sienna's tears fell faster. I was angry. I didn't mean it. You meant it enough to repeat it, I said. Sienna reached for my hand. Please. I'll do anything. Therapy. Counseling. I'll change. Mallory stepped closer, voice soft but brutal. If you changed, you wouldn't be here ambushing him. You'd respect him. Sienna turned on Mallory, desperate and furious. You think you're special? Mallory shrugged. No, I just think he is. That did something to me. Like a knot loosened. Sienna's voice cracked. Ryan, please. I can't watch you with her. I pulled my hand back. Then don't. Sienna froze. What? You chose a life without me, I said. Now you're watching me live it. Sienna looked around. Families, kids, dogs. People buying honey like nothing was collapsing. Her shame started to show through the tears. So that's it? You're just done? I nodded. I'm not mad. I'm just finished. Sienna's face twisted and she whispered something ugly under her breath about Mallory. Mallory smiled sweetly. Have a nice day. Sienna walked away, shoulders shaking. And I realized she didn't look like my problem anymore. She looked like someone else's. Mallory handed me a peach. Come on, she said. Let's buy something that tastes like peace. Story 10. I took my date Brooke to a trivia night because it was impossible to be tense while arguing about whether Pluto counts. She was smart, funny, the kind of woman who didn't treat my divorce like a defect. We were mid-round when the host said, Team Blue, you've got a visitor? I turned and saw my ex-wife, Hannah, standing in the aisle like she'd been waiting for applause. Brooke stared at her. Oh no, Hannah walked up, eyes shiny, voice trembling on cue. I'm sorry. I didn't know where else to go. Brooke leaned back. You could try. Not here. Hannah ignored Brooke completely and looked at me. I want you back. People around us went quiet. Even the host awkwardly backed away. I said, Hannah, stop. She shook her head, tears starting. I made a mistake. I thought leaving would scare you into changing. Into fighting harder. Brooke's eyebrows shot up. That's not love. That's training. Hannah snapped. Stay out of it. Brooke smiled. No. Hannah's voice broke. Please. I miss you. I miss us. I miss our home. I stared at her. You sold half our furniture on Facebook Marketplace. Hannah flinched, then tried to laugh through tears. I was mad. You were cruel, I corrected. Brooke leaned forward, voice calm but loud enough for the table next to us to hear. So what's the plan, Hannah? You embarrass him publicly and call it romance? Hannah's eyes flashed at Brooke. You think you're better than me? Brooke shrugged. I think I'm not you. That's enough. Hannah turned back to me, desperation spiking. If you leave with her tonight, I don't know what I'll do. That line hit my chest like a hook, because she used it in the marriage whenever she wanted control. Brooke's face hardened. She looked at me, quietly asking permission. I nodded once. Brooke stood up and addressed Hannah like a teacher dealing with a tantrum. You don't get to threaten him into loving you. Hannah's tears stopped instantly. Anger flashed, raw, real. He owes me. Brooke tilted her head. For what? The divorce you wanted? Hannah's voice rose. I didn't want it like this. I stood, heart pounding, and said the one sentence I'd rehearsed 1,000 times but never said out loud. I don't belong to you. Hannah froze like I'd slapped her. The host cleared his throat. Next question. I grabbed my jacket and looked at Brooke. Want to leave? Brooke smiled, eyes bright. Yeah? Let's go be boring somewhere else. As we walked out, Hannah called my name, louder and louder. But it sounded smaller with every step, like a person screaming into a door that finally stayed shut. Story 11. Our date was an escape room, because I figured if anything got awkward, we could literally lock it behind a puzzle. Mia was laughing at my terrible attempt to decode a cipher when the staff opened the door and said, Sir? There's a woman outside insisting it's an emergency. I stepped into the lobby and saw my ex-wife, Celeste, pacing like she'd rehearsed the panic in her car. Drew, she breathed. Thank God. I need you. I blinked. Why are you here? Her eyes were watery, but her makeup was perfect. Because I ruined everything. I want another chance. Please. Behind me, Mia appeared in the doorway, arms crossed, watching like she was assessing a threat. Is this part of the escape room? Celeste snapped her gaze to Mia. Who is that? Mia smiled politely. The person he's trying to escape with. Celeste ignored her and grabbed my wrist. Listen, I broke up with him. I realized Him? I repeated, pulling my hand back. Celeste froze for half a second. It doesn't matter. I'm here now. Mia let out a soft laugh. It matters a lot, actually. Celeste's voice got tight. I made a mistake leaving you. I thought you'd always be available. I nodded slowly. So you came here because you saw me on a date? Celeste's eyes flicked away, straight to Mia, then back to me. I'm scared, Drew. I can't do life without you. Mia stepped closer. You can. You just don't want to. Celeste snapped. Stay out of this. Mia's expression didn't change. No. Celeste turned back to me, pleading. Please, just talk to me alone. 5 minutes. I'll explain everything. I pointed at the door to the escape room. You see that? In there are rules, clues, consequences. Celeste swallowed. Drew, I'm not your hidden key, I said. And I'm not your reset button. Her tears turned into anger so fast it was almost impressive. So you're going to humiliate me in public? Mia raised a finger. You did that when you showed up here begging like you're entitled to his attention. Celeste's face twisted. He's my husband. Ex, I said, clear and loud. The staff stared. A couple in line stared. Celeste realized she'd lost the room. And then, boom! She reached into her purse and yanked out a folded paper like it was a weapon. Fine. Then sign this. I need you to co-sign my lease or I'll get evicted. Mia's eyebrows shot up. Oh! I stared at the paper, then at her. So this isn't love. It's rent. Celeste went pale. I took the paper, walked to the trash can by the front desk, and dropped it in like it weighed nothing. Find another door, I said. This one's locked. Mia grabbed my hand and pulled me back into the escape room. The staff shut the door behind us, and Celeste's muffled scream hit the hallway like a final pathetic wrong answer. Story 12. I took Nina to karaoke because it's impossible to pretend you're cool while screaming 2000s pop into a microphone. She was fearless, laughing, already picking our duet. Then the door opened and my ex-wife Shay walked in like she owned the stage. She didn't come to sit. She came to perform. She marched straight to our table and dropped into the chair beside me. Evan, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I want you back. Nina leaned back, shocked. Hi? Shay gave Nina a quick glance, then dismissed her with a smile that wasn't friendly. Can we talk alone? Nina laughed once. No. Shay's lips tightened. This is between me and my husband, I said. We're divorced. Shay's eyes glistened instantly. I didn't mean it. I thought leaving would make you fight. I didn't think you'd actually be happy, Nina offered sweetly. Shay snapped her head toward Nina. You think this is funny? Nina shrugged. I think it's embarrassing. For you. Shay turned back to me and reached for my hand. Please. I miss you. I miss us. I'm ready to be the wife you deserve. I pulled my hand away. You had years to be decent. Her face cracked. I was stressed. You were cruel, I said. The DJ called. Next singer, Shay. Shay's eyes flashed like she'd been waiting for that cue. She stood up, wiped her tears like she was on camera, and grabbed the mic. Everyone, she announced, voice trembling dramatically. Sometimes you lose the love of your life. Because you're stupid. The room cheered, thinking it was a bit. Nina looked at me like, is she serious? Shay started singing our wedding song. The one she mocked during the divorce because it was so pathetic. Halfway through, her voice broke. She pointed at me. Evan, please. Tell them you still love me. Nina stood up slowly and walked to the stage. The whole place oohed like a reality show. Nina took the mic from the stand, calm, steady, and said, He doesn't. Silence hit like a slap. Shay froze, eyes wide. Who are you? Nina smiled. The person who won't let you turn his life into your encore. Then Nina turned to the DJ. Can I request a song? The DJ nodded, confused. Nina looked right at Shay. Play Bye Bye Bye. Boom. Music blasted, the crowd erupted, and Nina started singing like it was a victory lap. People clapped. Someone laughed. Shay stood there shaking, trapped on stage while the room literally sang her out. I didn't even have to say anything. Nina did it for me. Loud, public, final. Story 13. Our date was at a dog adoption event. Simple, wholesome, safe. My date, Talia, had this warm energy that made strangers trust her instantly, dogs included. We were kneeling by a kennel when I heard my name. Caleb? I turned and saw my ex-wife, Renee, standing near the donation table with tears already rolling. She looked wrecked, like she'd cried for real this time. Talia rose slowly. Do you know her? Renee rushed forward. Please. I'm sorry. I made the biggest mistake of my life. I stayed still. Renee, this isn't the place. It has to be, she said, voice cracking. I tried calling. Your sister blocked me. Your mom won't speak to me. I didn't know where else you'd be. Talia blinked. So you hunted him down at a dog event. Renee ignored her and grabbed my sleeve. I can't do this alone. I lost my job. I lost my apartment. I lost everything. And I realized you were the only one who ever held you up, Talia finished, colder now. Renee finally looked at her. Who are you? Talia didn't flinch. His date. And I'm seeing a pattern. Renee's face twisted. You think you can replace me? I said. No one is replacing you. I'm just not carrying you anymore. Renee's tears turned sharp. So you're really going to abandon me? Talia stepped closer. He didn't abandon you. You jumped and assumed he'd build a bridge under you. Renee shook, furious. You don't know what we had. Talia nodded toward the kennels. I know what I'm seeing. A person begging to be rescued. Again, Renee's voice dropped. Caleb, please, just take me back. I'll be better. I'll do anything. And right then, like the universe wanted to make it cinematic, a volunteer walked up holding a clipboard. Excuse me, Renee. You're the one who signed up to foster Milo and never showed. We've been trying to reach you for weeks. Renee went white. Talia's eyes widened. Oh, the volunteer continued, loud enough for nearby people to hear. He was returned twice after that. He's been anxious ever since. Boom. The air changed. People stared. Someone whispered. That's horrible, Renee stammered. I had stuff going on. I stared at her, voice flat. You even bailed on a dog. Renee tried to cry again, but it looked fake now with that volunteer standing there. Talia knelt and opened Milo's kennel. The dog cautiously walked out and pressed against her leg. Talia looked up at me. Want to meet him? I nodded. Behind us, Renee's voice shattered. You're choosing a dog over me? I didn't even turn. No. I'm choosing someone who doesn't abandon what they claim to love. Story 14. We did a couples cooking class because I wanted something normal that didn't revolve around divorce trauma. My date, Sloan, was chopping onions like a pro while teasing me for being knife scared. Then the instructor said, sir, there's a woman in the hallway asking for you. She says she's your wife. Sloan's knife stopped midair. That's not ideal. I stepped out and saw my ex-wife, Brielle, leaning against the wall, mascara smudged, clutching a grocery bag. Micah, she whispered. I'm sorry. I need you. I looked at the bag. What is that? Brielle held it up like proof. Your favorite. I made you lasagna. Like I used to. I laughed once, without humor. You never made lasagna. You bought it frozen and took credit. Her eyes flashed. Okay, fine. But I can do it now. I'm ready now. Sloan appeared behind me, wiping her hands on her apron. Hi, I'm Sloan. Brielle's gaze snapped to her. Of course you are. Sloan smiled politely. You're interrupting a cooking class. Brielle turned back to me, trembling. I shouldn't have left. I shouldn't have taken you for granted. I want another chance. I crossed my arms. Why today? Brielle swallowed hard. Because I saw your photo. Sloan's eyes narrowed. What photo? Brielle hesitated. Too long. Online. Someone posted. Sloan's voice stayed calm. So you didn't miss him. You missed the fact he looked happy. Brielle's face reddened. Don't psychoanalyze me, Sloan shrugged. Don't bring a casserole to a hostage negotiation. Brielle stepped closer to me, voice dropping. Micah, please. I swear I changed, I said quietly. You don't get to audition for the role you quit. Brielle's eyes flooded. I'm begging you. Inside the classroom, the instructor loudly called, Time to plate. Bring your dishes up front. Boom! Sloan stepped past me, walked right into the room and raised her hand. Quick question, she said to the class, smiling. If someone shows up to beg for another chance, is that an ingredient or just spoiled behavior? People laughed. A couple clapped. The instructor blinked, confused but amused. Brielle heard the laughter from the hallway and went rigid. humiliation washing over her face. I leaned in and said, "You wanted a stage. Congratulations." Then I walked back in, grabbed my apron, and plated my food next to Sloane's like my life wasn't paused anymore. While Brielle stood outside holding a lie-filled grocery bag, finally understanding she couldn't cook up control. Story 15. We met at an ice rink. Holiday lights, hot chocolate, the whole cheesy vibe. My date, Harper, was terrible at skating but fearless, clinging to the railing and laughing at herself. I hadn't laughed like that in years. Then I saw my ex-wife, Yvette, standing behind the glass, watching us like I owed her an explanation. I tried to ignore it. Harper and I made it halfway around when Yvette stepped onto the ice in boots. No skates? Like she didn't care if she fell as long as she got attention. "Logan!" she shouted. Harper blinked. "Is she on the ice in boots?" Yvette stumbled toward us, arms flailing. "Please, don't do this." Harper gripped the railing. "Oh my God." Yvette reached us and dropped to her knees on the ice, boots sliding, like a drama scene. "I'm sorry. I want you back. I can't lose you." People stopped skating. A kid pointed. Someone whispered, "Is that a proposal?" Harper stared at me, horrified. "Is this your ex?" I nodded, jaw tight. "Yvette, stand up." She shook her head wildly. "No, not until you promise." Harper's voice went calm in a way that made my skin prickle. "Promise what? To be trapped?" Yvette snapped. "Stay out of it." Harper tilted her head. "No." Yvette's tears spilled. "Logan, I'm begging. I know I hurt you. I know I left. But I was confused. I thought you'd wait." I exhaled. I did wait. Until I realized waiting was just another way to disappear. Yvette's face twisted. "So she's worth it?" Harper stepped forward carefully on skates, steady as a judge. "This isn't about me being worth it. It's about you thinking you can interrupt his life like a commercial." Yvette's mouth fell open. Harper pointed at the crowd. "Look around. You made an audience. So here's your answer." I looked down at Yvette, voice clear. "No." Boom. Yvette's boot slipped, and she slid forward on her knees, crashing gently into the rink barrier with a loud thunk. The crowd gasped. Then someone laughed. Then more laughter spread like a wave. Yvette sat there stunned, cheeks burning, realizing her grand moment turned into a slapstick punchline. Harper offered her a hand. Not kind, not cruel, just final. "Get up." Yvette slapped it away and staggered to her feet, humiliated, eyes blazing. I took Harper's hand and skated past Yvette without looking back. As we looped the rink, the music swelled, and the crowd returned to moving. Like her meltdown was just another fall on the ice. Harper squeezed my hand and said, "Keep going," so I did. And behind us, Yvette stood still, finally realizing the world doesn't stop just because she wants a do-over. Story 16. I chose a tiny museum date because it felt grown-up and quiet. No loud bars, no obvious single-guy energy, just art, whispers, and distance from drama. My date, Rochelle, had this soft laugh that made the whole room feel warmer. We were standing in front of a painting when a familiar voice hissed my name like it was a curse. "Spencer." I turned. My ex-wife, Ivy, stood behind the velvet rope like she'd crossed state lines for this moment. Her eyes were red, but her posture was practiced. Rochelle glanced at me. "Friend?" "Ex," I said. Ivy stepped closer. "I need to talk." Now. Rochelle didn't move. "We're in a museum." Ivy snapped. "Exactly. Quiet. Perfect." I stared at Ivy. "Why are you here?" Her voice shook. "Because I regret everything. I left too fast. I didn't realize what I had." Rochelle's eyebrows lifted. "You didn't realize until you saw him with someone else." Ivy's eyes flashed. "Stay out of it." Rochelle smiled gently. "No." Ivy turned back to me, pleading. "Spencer, please. I'm begging. I can't handle you moving on." I nodded slowly. "You handled leaving." Ivy's face crumpled. "I was scared." "You were cruel," I corrected. "You told me I was emotionally expensive." Her lips parted, like she'd forgotten she said it. Then her voice sharpened. "I was angry." Rochelle leaned in, calm and precise. "He's not your receipt. You don't get to return him when you realize the store isn't taking you back." Ivy clenched her fists. "You think you're smart?" Rochelle shrugged. "I think you're loud." Ivy's eyes went wet again. "Spencer, please. Just come outside. 5 minutes. I'll explain everything. I'll fix it." I took one step closer, voice low. "You're not here to fix us. You're here because your new boyfriend found your old emails." Ivy went still. "What?" I pulled out my phone, opened the message she sent during the divorce, "I'm finally free," and showed it to her. "He contacted me yesterday. Asked if you still talk like this." Boom. Ivy's face drained. Her mouth opened and nothing came out. Rochelle blinked. "Oh my God," Ivy whispered. He shouldn't have seen the real you, I said. Yeah, he should. Ivy's eyes filled with rage and panic. You did this to me. I gestured to the painting beside us. No, you did, and now everyone gets to see it. Quietly. Security appeared, drawn by her voice. Ivy tried to smile through tears. It's fine, I'm leaving. As she walked away, Rochelle leaned closer and whispered, that was the most museum-appropriate karma I've ever seen. I exhaled, chest lighter. Want to see the sculpture room? Rochelle smiled. Yeah. Let's go look at things that don't lie. Story 17. We went to a quiet gym cafe after a workout class. Smoothies, protein bowls, the least romantic setting imaginable. My date, Dana, said she preferred real-life dates over fancy dinners. That alone felt like therapy. Then the door swung open and my ex-wife, Brooke, marched in like she'd paid for the place. She locked eyes with me and walked straight over. Wow, you really replaced me with this? Dana's eyebrows went up. Hello to you too. Brooke ignored her and leaned down toward me. I need to talk. Now. Dana smiled politely. No, actually, you don't. Brooke's jaw tightened. This is between me and my husband. I said. Divorced. Brooke's face cracked. I didn't mean it. I thought you'd change. I thought you'd finally become the man I needed. Dana let out a short laugh. So you divorced him as motivation? Brooke snapped. Stay out of it. Dana stood up. Slow, calm, solid. I am in it. Because you walked up to our table and started throwing insults like they're confetti. Brooke's eyes watered, switching gears. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I miss you. I miss our life. I nodded. You miss my stability. Brooke swallowed hard. I lost my job. And rent is... Dana's eyes widened. Ah, there it is. Brooke glared. Excuse me? Dana crossed her arms. You didn't come here for love. You came here for an ATM with feelings. Brooke's cheeks reddened. That's not true. I leaned forward. Then why did you just mention rent? Brooke's mouth opened, then closed. Her eyes darted around the cafe like she needed a script. Dana's voice softened. Not kind, just accurate. You're panicking because life without him is hard. That's not romance. That's gravity. Brooke's tears spilled. Please. Just one more chance. I'll do counseling. I'll be better. I shook my head. You said I was dead weight when I got laid off. Brooke flinched. I was stressed. You were mean, I said. Boom. Brooke slapped her smoothie onto our table so hard it splashed everywhere. People stared. The cashier froze. Brooke's voice rose. You think you're better than me now? Dana wiped smoothie off her forearm and smiled. Terrifyingly calm. No. I think you're proving why he's better without you. Brooke stood there shaking, humiliated by her own outburst. She looked at me like she expected me to clean up her mess. Like always. I didn't move. Finally, she whispered, So you're done. I nodded. I've been done. I just finally said it out loud. Dana handed me a napkin and shrugged. Want to get smoothies somewhere that doesn't serve drama? I smiled. Yeah. Let's go. Story 18. My date was at a tiny indie theater. 2 seats, 1 shared armrest, and a movie nobody's seen. My date, Kira, was the kind of woman who can laugh without needing a reason. I'd missed that. Halfway through the previews, a flashlight hit our row. Sir? An usher whispered. There's a woman outside saying she's your wife and she's crying. Kira leaned in, whispering. That sentence is cursed. I stepped into the hallway and found my ex-wife, Morgan, standing by the poster display, shaking like she'd rehearsed vulnerability. Please, she whispered. Don't go back in there. I stared at her. Why are you here? Morgan's tears fell. Because I want another chance. I was stupid. I didn't know what I had until it was gone. Kira walked out behind me, arms crossed. You followed him to a movie theater to say that? Morgan's eyes flicked to Kira with instant hostility. Who is she? Kira smiled. The person you're interrupting. Morgan turned back to me, voice dropping. Can we talk alone? Kira answered. No. Morgan's face hardened. This is private. Kira shrugged. Then you should have stayed private. Morgan's voice cracked. I'm sorry. I miss you. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I cut in. You couldn't stop texting your friend while we were married. Morgan flinched. It wasn't like that. Kira tilted her head. Then why do you keep needing to isolate him? That's not apology behavior. That's control behavior. Morgan snapped. Stay out of it. Kira's smile faded. No. Morgan looked at me, desperation spiking. Please. I'll do anything. Just don't let her have you. I nodded slowly. There it is. Morgan blinked. What? You didn't say you love me, I said. You said you don't want her to have me. Morgan's face crumpled. I meant... Boom. Kira reached into her purse and pulled out our tickets. She held them up like a judge holding evidence. Listen, Morgan. You don't own him. And you don't get to rewrite the ending because you hate the sequel. Morgan's tears turned to rage. He'll hurt you too. Kira leaned closer, voice low. He already got hurt. By you. And he survived. The usher returned, awkward. Ma'am, you can't loiter. People are complaining. Morgan's mouth opened, shocked. She looked at me, waiting for me to defend her like I used to. I didn't. Morgan whispered. So you're choosing her, I said. I'm choosing peace. Kira slipped her hand into mine and pulled me back toward the doors. As we walked away, Morgan's sobs echoed in the hallway, swallowed by the movie soundtrack, like the past finally fading into background noise.